Hey everyone, thank you for stopping by Living to Do's review of Married at First Sight, Season 18, Episode 11, called She Said, He Fled. Before I get started with the review, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it, and I thank you in advance. So let's get started with Karla and Juan. Karla and Juan. So basically what happens is we see Karla gets a visit from her sister, and she tells her sister about her plans of opening her own salon and that she's doing business at her house. And they show her having somebody in her bathroom doing their hair, cutting her hair. And what I thought was, okay, so you put this on camera where you are having a business with no business license permit and you're doing it on camera. And I was just thinking things could get bad if you don't think about everything, how you could get in trouble legally, and then there's fines or whatever put upon you, your property. Maybe it might involve Juan. So those are the kinds of things I don't think she's thinking of. If she has her patrons follow her, then she should just get another place to conduct her business of doing hair, because you can't do that in your house. I just thought that was a little interesting. They showed them going out to dinner to Wagyu House, and I thought, oh, Wagyu is a very piece of expensive meat. So I imagine that that restaurant is an expensive place. So I know it's TV, but who would be paying that bill normally? Because penny pinching Juan and no job having Karla, this ain't the place for them two to be. Okay, so during the meeting or during their dinner, Karla brings a notebook. She wants to take notes. I mean, not that you don't live with the guy and can take notes there, but she takes notes at the restaurant about her business ideas. Kind of drawing up a business plan, putting something on paper. And he seems interested in the idea, and she tells him, I think he asked her what she wanted. She wanted to do a salon, but only for herself. She wanted to be the only hairdresser there. And then use some of the space for Pilates, meditation. She wants to be like a spiritual hairdresser or something like that. Because Juan first offered, well, why don't you get other seats? Because other chairs where someone's doing hair and generating income for you. I don't think he saw her vision. And so later she takes him to this place, this Pilates place. And, it's Pilates like Zen or whatnot. And he has a Pilates class and gets the feel of what kind of space she wants to open up. And he sees that it's a doable space, that somebody else is doing it. And I think he then saw her vision. I like the way how Karla showed him her vision in a different way. She put him in the setting of her vision, and he then approved of it. So, what does he think of her now that she's business minded? If she can have some follow through, would she be worth having around, keeping? Interesting. Okay, let's move on to the next couple. Okay, the next couple will be Madison and Alan. We see that there is some footage of Alan leaving the house. Apparently, they had gone out drinking and they got back to the shared apartment, but he later wanted to go home, drive home. And she didn't want him to drive home because he had been drinking. And he went on home. And I thought to myself, I thought better of Alan. I don't think he should have been drinking or driving. I couldn't believe she was worried about him. But why would he make that move? I thought maybe he was mad at her, but apparently he had to be somewhere early in the morning. But he drives that high profile sports car. He said it was 15 minutes away. I mean, literally, you could have hit something. You could have killed somebody. You could have got a DUI. I just thought that was an immature move that Alan made. That was just kind of wild to me that he would do that. He does go in a confessional and he's talking about all the changes he made for Madison, and he doesn't see her getting any closer to him with the work that he has put into the relationship, and he's wondering if it's worth it. And he has that same conversation with Dr. Pepper. They meet with Dr. Pepper, and he says has been working on making himself more presentable to Madison, but she's not giving much attention back. She does always say she notices his efforts, but that's not enough. There's more to a marriage than that, he tells her, and he doesn't know if it's worth fighting for. He wants to be more appreciated, and she's just not getting it. There's no affection, and that's what he wants, of course. And he says, he mentioned David in this meeting, how David gets more affection than he does. That's notable. Okay. Um, and so he asked her in the meeting with Dr. Pepper, do you find me attractive? And she tried to kind of brush that question off. She even said it was weird to ask that question. I disagree with her totally. If there's ever a place where you would ask that question, it would be in that setting. What was weird was your response. All right, let's move on to the next couple, which will be Camille and Thomas. You know, I really, really love their progression. They are my favorite couple from the start, and they're doing so well. They meet with Dr. Pepper, and Thomas has his suit on. He looks so good in the suit. He was coming from work. What kind of work does Thomas do? Well, he looked good. He was being vulnerable in their meeting with Dr. Pepper, and he told, vulnerable stories, and of course he teared up a little bit. And Camille, she puts her hand on him to comfort him. And then Camille told a vulnerable story. And what was interesting, Camille cried. That was the first time Thomas had seen her cry, and he said so. And it wasn't like nice to see her cry, but he felt good that she could be vulnerable and open up and be soft with him, because that's a side he doesn't really normally see. This guy is something else. I wish all the couples could move in this direction. This is the kind of show that we want to see, real positive, sweet love. And they're moving along normally, like a normal couple. And I appreciate that. And honestly, Camille has something to work with in Thomas. She's a lucky girl. All right, let's talk about Michelle and David. David is always happy. In his confessional, he's walking on the street, enjoying the day, being grateful for the day. He's just a very happy guy. He meets with Dr. Pepper. She asked him how's he doing, and he says that it's been rocky. He's been taking some punches. Later, Michelle shows up. Dr. Pepper asks them what is one positive thing that is working in their relationship. They both seem to think of just one thing, and it's positive communication, though at least it's getting better. They had their moments where they were sharing vulnerable things with one another. And David mentioned that he was in a public school, and then he was taken out to be to be placed in a private school. He didn't understand why this was happening at the time. He was what he called, I guess it was a rough transition for him, because at the private school, that's where there was where Caucasian children, I guess, outnumbered the other children. And I guess he didn't have a good rapport with them. He didn't gel with them right away. It seemed to be something that was difficult in his life. So I guess he was bullied or something like that. It's so crazy. All that happened to him in his childhood by kids, and he just has the sweetest disposition. Michelle shared a story about her being poor, and she's not going back. No, she's not going back to poorhood. She basically doesn't want him because to her, the way he lives, it is an example of just downtrodden. And she is not here for struggle love. That is not for Michelle. The funny thing is, Michelle, David was in a public school and then placed in a private school. That doesn't sound poor to me. Dr. Pepper asks Michelle, who is David as a husband? And she said that she feels like he's 10 years behind her. Well, he is a little behind her. I think he's like 2 years younger than her. They talked about, I guess, a little about finance, in which I need to re-watch it. I only just watched this thing once, but I thought he said the savings was not there, but he could possibly own property. She was like a two-bedroom flat, I think she said, and he could possibly own one, he said, in a year or two. Apparently he's also waiting for a promotion, and if he gets it, he will be making about the same amount of money as she's making. So he's making significantly less, that he needs a whole promotion to equal where she is. So I wonder what he does for a living. Anyway, Michelle seemed happier after meeting with Dr. Pepper. She even said that that was the best session that they had with all the experts. So what was she trying to say about Dr. Pia? She wasn't feeling that session when she got called out on her bull? Okay. Later, Michelle goes out with a friend to a men's store. They're in there to shop for David. Later, David comes in and they pick out a lot of clothes for him. Well, actually, when he came in, he hugged her friend. I think he never met her. He gave her a hug, a normal hug. And then his wife gave him one of those church side hugs. So we see where we are with that. That hug looked weird. David was a good sport, of course, in all this. He got some outfits that she picked out. She said, "Oh, that outfit makes you look slim on one of the outfits." And he goes, "Oh, do I look fat?" I mean, that was rude, right? And then he got another outfit, and she goes, "Oh, that makes you look like Drake or Travis Kelce." So Drake, that's the kind of light-skinned black guy she was looking for. Yeah, okay. It's in the details there. And then she said to him, or to her friend, no, she said it to her friend, as he was changing his clothes, she said something like, she said she had not seen him in an elevated look since the wedding. I mean, all these little rude comments. I'm not liking Michelle. Like these little side comments she keeps making, they're not warranted. I don't see where he, I don't see where he does that to her. I don't know. She's got on my nerves a little bit. Okay, last couple. MM and Ikechi. Ikechi moved out. You know he likes drama. Drama is the arts, which he has an unnatural closeness to. So of course he wants the attention. He's gonna pull a move like that. Something to say, something to shoot. It's just all that. He's just attention seeking. Ikechi, meets with Pastor Cal, and Ikechi says how he was uncomfortable. That's why he moved out. He brought up that she wanted to take a shower with him 3 days after the wedding. I've seen people take showers on their honeymoon. Woody and Imani, oh, a successful couple. I mean, it happens. So why is that so out of the realm of possibility, or or just, it's not really that unnatural if you're married and if the relationship is progressing, in a way that it goes towards a real relationship, that taking a shower together wouldn't be that far-fetched. I mean, it's something you could do. The way he made it sound like it was a total offense, out of bounds, it wasn't all that. I didn't see that as all that. He's just possibly a different breed. She wanted him to move into her apartment after the show. Okay, and so what? What are we getting at? He says he can't stand her personality or attitude, and he says he hadn't been disrespectful. Oh, really? I can remember a time last week where you were called her a that, and you did call her an asshole, and Doctor, or no, Pastor Call, he knows what's going on, and he reminded him what he had done. And then Ikechi copped to it. At some point in this conversation, he started tearing up. And Pastor Cal thought, called him on it. Like, I think it was an emotional thing. It was whatever it was. He was tearing up, and Pastor Cal said something about it. And he quickly said, Ikechi said it was allergies. Mm-hmm. He agreed to an open dialogue with MM. It's really weird how he had more respect for Pastor Cal talking to him about their relationship than he did with Dr. Pia. Later, MM met with Dr. Pia. She says that she doesn't feel that Ikechi was ready for marriage. Dr. Pia says that Ikechi, the way he acts, it's a defense mechanism. She says that he talks a lot of fluff too. Dr. Pia, recommended that MM would lead with her feelings in the relationship and not with facts, because when she does that, it puts him in that defense mode. So she wants her to try something different. Dr. Pia says she wants her to do this because this is the way that MM can meet Ikechi where he's at, because he can't meet her where she's at. Oh, that is so true. In fact, in all areas of life, in job, behavior, shelter, clothes. Later, both Dr. Pia and Pastor Cal meet with MM. She says she's open about the marriage. Later, Ikechi comes in and he greets everyone with a hug, but I didn't see him greet her. Still not greeting her. So Pastor Cal wants them to find mutual respect. And MM said things were working great until their housewarming, where he called her aggressive. So up until that point, from where MM talks about it, that was the turning point that she saw in him. During their conversation, they believed that Ikechi was controlling the pace of the relationship. And when you do that, it doesn't work. He pointed out that Ikechi leads with his heart, and that she leads with reasoning, logic. She's a scientist. She has to know information. So those experts think their problem is simple. It's miscommunication. They don't know how the other one communicates. Dr. Pia wants them to move back in with each other to work on these issues. And then they show MM asking Ikechi to move in back with her. And I say, oh, hell no. He embarrassed her in front of her family and friends, calling her aggressive, later calling her an asshole to her face. He embarrassed her at dinner with the couples. Wait until she finds out that he called her a that. She has to do all this groveling for a man, the coveted black man. That should be her born right. It shouldn't have to be so hard and complicated to find a partner in life. And if this is their foundation, it really doesn't have a leg to stand on. Thank you for staying with me to the end. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it, and I thank you in advance. But I gotta go because I got living to do. Bye.